In this video, I am going to discuss the requirements for your article critique. So one of the primary objectives of this course is that you're going to learn to critically evaluate articles. This is a tremendously important skill for you to develop regardless of whether you choose to pursue a career as a clinician or a researcher. And, you know, because even as a clinician, you're going to be responsible for staying up to date with published research and using the available literature to select appropriate interventions for your clients. You might have been assigned article critiques in other classes, and typically the way that these assignments work is you select an article or an article is selected for you, you read it, and you summarize it. But what I find is that many students simply regurgitate what the authors already said about the article. And so I want you to be able to use a more critical lens when you're reading research studies. And I want you to be able to formulate your own opinions, which may be different from the author's stated opinions about their work. When completing article reviews, some of you might have used the scientific merit rating system in order to guide your decisions regarding the quality of research designs. But I'd be lying to you if I said that I break out my SMRS every time I read an article. It's just not feasible. And so the goal of this assignment is really to help you to establish strategies to critically evaluate any article that you read. When I read an article, I think about a series of questions that are related to the purpose, the description, the controls for internal and external validity, whether or not I can replicate the study based on what the authors provided me with. I think about whether or not the results obtained are meaningful, um, amongst many other variables. And this was a skill that I developed when I was in graduate school, and we referred to the questions as the 10 questions. And over the course of my career, I've expanded these 10 questions a little bit. But each of these items is broken down in the syllabus under the article critique requirements. And I hope that they provide a heuristic for you as you learn to be critical of the published research. So, how is this assignment different from other article critiques that you might have completed in different courses? Well, for one, instead of writing, a 3 to 5 page paper critiquing the article, you are going to read the same article that I've assigned several times throughout the course of the semester. And then you're going to answer a series of guided questions that are divided up across the semester into 6 smaller assignments. And the reason why I did this is to make it more manageable for you, but also so that you have time to really think about the different aspects of the article. Whenever I'm critically evaluating an article, just as a side note, I often read the article more than one time. Whether it's a published article or if it's an article that I'm reviewing for potential publication in a journal. One thing that you should keep in mind, because I'm not sure about how it shows up in your view in Blackboard, but the way that I created these small assignments is I created them in Blackboard as an exam. And this is just for ease of grading and also to make sure that you're separating each of the questions and answering each of them in its entirety. And so I didn't want you to confuse it if it shows up for you as an exam. I didn't want you to confuse it with the actual exams that you're going to be taking. But I set it up this way just to make it easier on everyone. I made efforts to assign the article critique components, or the 6 parts, in sections where we talk about the content. So, for example, you'll complete the part two, where we talk about dependent variables and independent variables in the section where we've already reviewed that content. Unfortunately, that didn't work out for every part, and it was just impossible to match up all of the sections without having you do all of the parts at the very end of the semester. And so there are some that might be more challenging because the content wasn't covered in its entirety. But use your instructor and use the discussion board forums in order to help you navigate these components. So, in summary, for this assignment, you are assigned an article. You're going to read the article multiple times, and then you're going to answer specific questions about the article to help you in mastering the skills of evaluating research. Um, as a side note, I mentioned before that the article critique is a good assignment to discuss in the student forum. I often find that I discuss various articles with my colleagues, in part for fun, but in part just in the spirit of a good debate. And it's a good habit to get into discussing the research with your colleagues. It helps keeps things fresh. I always advocate at the centers where I work to have a journal club where you maybe get together once a month and read a new bit of research and discuss it and talk about the merits and really critically evaluate the study and something that you can use in your practice. I selected the article this semester for several reasons. First, many of the instructors at Ball State are co-authors of this article, even though we published it before coming to Ball State University. So I thought that it would be neat for you to see some of the research that your instructors are publishing. Second, there are some pretty significant threats to internal validity that are in the study that I think will make good discussion points for you. And there's some good opportunity for discussing whether or not the results are meaningful, and it shows you how we combined various elements of single case research designs. So those are more discussion points. And there are also some interesting or unique controls for internal validity that you might find are good discussion points. I hope this video provides some clarification about the article critique assignments. Let your instructor know if you have any additional questions.